In this step, let's write a simple unit test to retrieve the student details as well as his passport details. There is an important concept we'll also learn called eager fetching. I'm copying the course repository test and saying student repository test, saying OK. And now let's go ahead and play with the student repository test to get the details of a student. So we would need the logger. Instead of the course repository, we would be using the student repository. And I would get rid of all the other stuff which is present in here. What we want to do is retrieve the details of the student and his passport. Retrieve student and passport details. Over here in the student repository, we have a find by ID. So this would find the student. However, we would want to also get the passport details. In the test, what we'll do is we will start with using the entity manager. So let's say I'm auto wiring in the entity manager to understand what's happening in the background. Entity manager, EM, organize the imports, everything would be imported and fine. EM dot find, I would want to get the student dot class, and the primary key I would want to pass in the student ID. Let's go to the data.sql and find the student ID. The student ID, let's say, is 20001. So this would retrieve the student for us, and let's assign this to a new field. Oops, I don't want to create a new field. Let's assign this to a new local variable. So student is this, and let's log the student details, logger.info student, and we would want to get his passport details as well. Remember, the passport details are in a different table. So let's see what would happen. I'm just saying student.getPassport, and I'm doing a logger.info. Let's quickly write the code up. So student passport details are this. Let's now try to debug this and see what is happening in the background. Right click, debug as JUnit test. It will start up the entire Spring Boot application, and it would start the debug perspective again. I don't really want to worry about this, so I'll remove the breakpoint and do a function F8, because what we are really interested in is what's happening in the test. So we are now at the test. So I'm doing a em.find student.class 20001. So let's go to the console, remove everything out from here, and do function F6. Okay, let's see what is happening. em.find is triggered. So I'm trying to find a student. So I'm getting a student. You can see how it's now joining passport as well. So the query by default is also getting the passport details. One of the important things that you need to remember is the fact that any one-to-one relationship is always eager fetch. That means if you have a one-to-one relationship, the student details are retrieved and the passport details are also retrieved, because student and passport have a one-to-one relationship. You can see that we have both the student details and the passport details present. So we got the student details as well as the passport details as well, even though I have not really requested for the passport details yet. Let's clear this out and say function F6. The student details are printed out. You can see student is Ranga, and function F6, you can see that the passport details are printed out. Passport is E123456. That's cool. And now I can actually function F8 to complete the execution. One of the things which we noticed is how when we are trying to fetch the details, they are eagerly fetched. Whenever we are fetching the student details, the passport details are also fetched along with it. This is called eager fetching. We will talk about eager fetching and also talk about how to convert this to lazy fetching in the next step. Until then, bye-bye.